Laying on the microphone. This started early. We're done. We're done. We're done. I made some poor decisions in November, and one of those poor decisions was me cutting my bangs. We're good. We're going to talk about some books, and it's going to just be a fun time. And the light's not the best, but honestly, it's dark already, and it's like 3:30. So there's not much I can do there. I am doing my November wrap-up. Thought about maybe including makeup. I'm not sure though. Speaking of makeup, I got my About Face order today, and that's why I decided to go with this really, really, really bold blue for my eyes. Might have been a mistake, but I love About Face makeup. It's, if you don't know, Halsey is the creator of About Face, who is, if you don't know Halsey, I feel like every book person needs to know who Halsey is because her songs are on like every book playlist ever. But like, they are so fun to work with. They're like paints for your eyes. They're really fun, but this is just her dark blue and her white mixed together. But I love it, and I know blue is a really bold choice for an eye makeup look, but I went with it. Let's talk about books. Let's just be happy and talk about some books. Good thing that happened in November, reading-wise, is I completed my reading goal. I've never completed a yearly reading goal that's a lie. Last year I did. Last year I had a goal of 40 books, and I made it to 90. Which was the highest amount of books I've ever read in a year. I've never read more than 90. And so this year, starting of 2020, I'm like, oh God, it's stuck in 2020, I guess. This year, beginning of 2022, I decided that I was really going to go for it, and I was going to try to read 100 books, which I have never done before. As of November, I am at 101 books out of 100. It might be a little bit of a lie. A lot of them are like short stories and rereads, but like, I'm counting them. I picked up and read either 100 books or short stories or listened to, and I'm counting it. Don't try to take this away from me. I read 1, 2, 3, 4. I had 5 books in November. Not great, not bad, mid. 5 books in a month is great. That's more than 1 book a week. I don't know why I'm like downplaying myself. I read 5 books. The first book I read in November was Finley Donovan is Killing It. This was on my TBR, and on my TBR video, I literally said this was probably the only book on my TBR that I was gonna read because I was required to read it. And when I say required, I mean it was part of a book club. So yes, I did read it, and I finished it, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was very entertaining. I rated it 4 stars. Definitely was some issues. There was a lot of convenient things that seemed to happen for our main character. Everything just seemed to be handed to her a little bit. Like, she never really worked for anything. It was just like, oh, well, that was convenient. That was convenient. Oh, that was convenient. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. Finley Donovan can be a little bit annoying. I enjoyed it. It definitely wasn't my favorite book I've ever read, but it also wasn't the worst book I've ever read. Anyways, this is Finley Donovan is Killing It, and it is about a single mother whose life is basically falling apart after she gets divorced, and she is sitting in a Panera one day with her agent. They're talking about her new book, and the table next to her overhears her and thinks she's a hitman and want to hire her to take care of a problematic husband, a very problematic husband, and that's where the story kind of goes from there. It was really enjoyable. It was a lot of fun. Vero is the side character in this novel. She is kind of like the nanny maid. She was the best part of this book. She is hilarious and witty, and she brings like what you need to this book. She is very go out and do it herself kind of a person, and you really need that compared to Finley, who is just having all these things happen to her and she's not really reacting in the best kind of way. Vero is there to bring humor and to bring a little bit of action and to make it not be so like, oh, well, that's convenient. So Vero really carried this book, but it was still fun. 4 stars. I would recommend it. The audiobook was fun. That's how I half read this, half listened to it, and so it was pretty entertaining. I read this via audiobook, and it was Twisted Lies, the Twisted number 4 by Ana Huang. Okay, let's talk about this book. Read Twisted Lies, which is the 4th book in the Twisted series. If you don't know what the Twisted series is, each is set around a different couple within this like it's our world. It's a romance. It's a dark romance. Just saying. It is a super, super, super popular dark romance that I've seen a lot on Bookstagram and TikTok. I'm constantly getting reels about the twisted girls, and like they're like aesthetic, and like then they put those like out of context quotes that makes you want to read the freaking book, and it's like everybody was talking about this series. Everybody was in love with this series, and I finally decided to read it. I read the first 3 books in October. I listened to them. And I was not a fan. And I decided, you know what, I'm already 3 books in at this point. I'm just going to finish the series and read the 4th one. And so finally the 4th one audiobook came out. And I really like the audiobook narrator because it's the same narrator who does These Violent Delights. And I love her voice. She's really good at narrating. And so for now, I will say that I rated this 4th one 2 stars. I was gonna say I don't understand the hype, but I do. This series is very addicting. Like, it's hard to put down, and it's so wild and like out there, and it's such a dark romance that it's like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening kind of thing. And it's a time. It's addicting. It's an addicting series to read. I think the audiobooks made it more addicting. If I was physically reading this, I don't think I would have finished the first one. They are addicting characters, and the plot is horrendous. The plot is awful. If you've read it, what is this painting plot? It's so stupid. Anyways, I have feelings about this series. After reading the train wreck of a series, I got a really, really, really great news, and that was that I got approved the audiobook arc of Saint. And when I tell you, I dropped everything to listen to this book. If you don't know, Saint is the prequel to Fable, which is a pirate book, okay? I know the author says it's not a pirate book, but it gives pirate vibes. It is very much people on a ship in the sea, you know, fighting people, looking for gold, looking for special it's piratey. There's a pirate vibe to it. So I got the audiobook of Saint, and I read it within like 24 hours. I was obsessed. I did rate it 4 stars purely because I didn't think it was as good as Fable and Namesake, which is the second in Fable, but I still really enjoyed it. It follows Fable's parents, Saint and Isolde, and you kind of see how they met and their relationship and what Saint was like when he was a kid. How old is he? What he was like when he was a young adult, basically. Saint is an established character in Fable. You see him, you know his personality. And so, the thing about prequels that can get messed up sometimes is that developed character, because you're going into the past, and like sometimes they just change their personality too much, and it seems like a completely different person, or they're too similar, and there has been like no character growth for 30 years or however long it is between them. I think this prequel of Saint was really well done. The book narrator was great. I liked that Saint had 2 point of views, which we don't get in Fable, and I would sell my soul to get West's point of view in Fable, okay? Please, can that be the next book we get of the Narrows? I want a West POV book. I don't care if it's during Fable, during Namesake, or after, or before. I just want West point of view book. After I read Saint, I tried to read Princess of Souls, which was a book on my TBR. I tried to stick to my TBR a little bit, and I read 122 pages. I was so excited to read this book. It was a Rapunzel retelling. It was dark, it was witchy, it involved stealing souls, and I'm like, yep, that's my vibe. I want to read it. 122 pages in, it's not as good as I was hoping it would be. I don't know if I'm gonna DNF it yet. I'm probably just gonna finish it off. The guy does give me Flynn Rider vibes, and the girl isn't really Rapunzel-y vibes, but you know, she is locked in a room, which is kind of like her tower, and trying to escape, and like there are references to Rapunzel things that do happen, and so I am seeing some of that, and that's fun to see. Rapunzel retellings are always a miss with me. Little Mermaid ones, Beauty and the Beast retellings, I always love. Rapunzel retellings are really hard for me unless you are Marissa Meyer and you write Cress and Thorn, who are like the perfect Rapunzel and Prince-like character for a retelling, but this Flynn Rider-like character, he's pretty good. I'm probably gonna finish it purely for him. Right now it's looking like a 2 or a 3 star, and I'm dreading picking it up. After Saint, I just wanted to reread Fable, and so I reread Fable. This is a 5-star book for me. I reread it twice now. This is like one of my favorite duologies I have read. I don't know how much I can say. I've already been raving about this book. It's about Fable, who is a dredger, which means she is on a pirate ship and she dredges for the ship, which means she goes and looks for jewels in the water, and she can do this really well because she's also a gem sage, which means she can like hear jewels calling to her in like kind of a magical way. Fable grows up on a ship with her father and mother, and after a storm one night which ends up sinking the ship and Fable watches her mother die, her father basically abandons her on this island and she is stuck there for 4 years, and that is then where this story picks up. Basically, Fable is trying to get off this island to meet her father again. Basically, she has just been surviving on this island for 4 years, and she's been trying to get off of it. She finally saves up enough money to board a ship, the Marigold, which is where we meet West, who is the helmsman. And oh my god, I love West so much. He is so... Give me a West book. Fable, Saint, West. Give me a West book, pop his face on it. I don't care, just give me a West book. Anyways, love this book. It was a reread, 5 out of 5 stars. It's a lot of fun. It's really short and easy to read, and it's just a lot of fun to read. And I bet you can't guess what I read after this. I read Namesake, which is the sequel to Fable. And when I first read this book, I gave it 4 stars. Rereading it, I gave it 5, which is rare. I don't usually reread a book and rate it more stars than I previously rated it. If anything, it usually goes down in rating. Namesake was so good, and it was like way better than I remember it being the first time I read it. And it's just this duology is so good. The covers are so pretty. If you like Pirates of the Caribbean, I know it's not a pirate book, but like it's a pirate book. If you like that kind of piratey vibes, ocean captain fighting underwater, you know, it's just the found family crew kind of trope. It's in here, and it is so good. So those were the 5 books I read in November, but this is a wrap up. I don't need to put myself in a box, and if I want to talk about other wrap ups, I'm going to. This is my November diamond painting wrap up. So if you don't know what diamond painting is, you are using glue and resin on a canvas to create an image. It is like paint by numbers. Basically, I enjoy to diamond paint while listening to audiobooks, because when I'm listening to a book, I have to be doing something with my hands. It could be playing a game, it could be cleaning, it could be folding laundry, or most of the time, diamond painting. If you are really interested in this, I can make a whole video about diamond painting. Please, if you're starting, please look for licensed artwork. Please do not steal artists' work. That's all I'm gonna say. You can look for some on Amazon, but most on Amazon are going to be stolen artwork. Usually get mine from a shop called Diamond Art Club. I have a couple other shops like Moon and Jaded Gem Shop, who has some Akatar diamond paintings, which I have the Resand one, and I'm going to get that whole collection. Yes, it is kind of a nerdy hobby. You can find a lot of gorgeous art pieces inspired by other nerdy or pop culture things. One I have up here is called Pride. It's beautiful. There's a dragon, there's a tiger, there's a naked girl with some rainbows. I'll show you. I have a Phantom of the Opera one, which is like my favorite one I've ever done, called Think of Me. We'll have a mermaid in a cauldron who is a witch. Love her. I also have a Cinderella and a Rapunzel one done. I am constantly working on one. I have like 40 kits that I haven't completed yet, and I've been doing this for 3 years because they are big canvases. Let me show you the ones I was working on in November. So this one is from Diamond Art Club. All 3 of these are actually. And this one is called Halloween Witch. I was working on this in October, early November. One of them fell out. It's on my hand now and I don't know where it went, but let's see. Can you see that? It's not focusing. This tiny little gem on my finger is what these whole canvases are made of. Taking these little tiny things and you're putting them on this canvas, which is pre-glued, and you use tweezers or a little pin and you stick them on. This is the one I've been working on since spring, and yes, I started it in spring because it's Persephone. She's huge, she's gorgeous, and I love her. Gems, and then this is the canvas with the glue on it right here because I'm actually currently working on this one. This is why this one is the one I work between projects on, because it's just a bunch of different shades of brown. and that can get kind of boring while working on a colorful piece, but I'll show you this one. It is Artemis, inspired by Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. Yes, that's also what I'm working on right now. Decided to include diamond painting or my diamond painting progress in wrap-ups because I felt like I'm wrapping up the month, so I might as well wrap up the books that I've been working on, the books I'm reading, and then diamond paintings I'm working on. Because typically those go together for me. I typically diamond paint while I read, and so like it just felt like it's something I wanted to talk about. It's a craft or slash hobby of mine that I really enjoy. I think other readers would also enjoy it. I am joining a drill event in December, so you will see me working on this one next. It's a completely blank canvas. I've had it for a while though. This is one of the first diamond paintings I bought actually, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. Me, along with my sister, who also diamond paints, are joining a Disney and Drills event, and so I chose to do this one, which is inspired by Sleeping Beauty. It might be hard to tell, but there is the prince on the rock right there. Sleeping Beauty is laying down, and then there is also the dragon, which is kind of hard to see. If you are interested in looking more into diamond paintings or want to learn more about what diamond painting is, please let me know down below, and I can make a whole video about it. I will link the shop that I showed all these artworks from below if you're curious and want to go check them out. They do seem pricey for a craft, but honestly, I love it. I think it's so fun, and they're constantly putting out new designs and new artwork. It's my like diamond painting wrap up, plus showing you what I'm working on in December. December wrap up, I'll show you the progress that I've made on these, as well as if I start any new ones, though I better not start any new ones. No. I have 3 going right now. One is about to go because of events. Events happen, and I want to join the event, and I want to participate, and I want it to be fun, and then I don't finish them in time for the event to end, which you're supposed to finish it within the month. But like, I'm a slow diamond painter. I'm pretty slow at it. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know below what your favorite read of November was, or I don't know, whatever you want to say. If you want more info on diamond paintings, if anything. If you have questions, I don't know, just come talk to me. I'm lonely. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Here is some content of Cinder and Rosie for your enjoyment. Main. I didn't even think there was room up there for you. Don't chew on Wrath. I like him too much for that. They have this really unique bond. Oh Lord Jesus. Oh God, Cat, you are so weird. You good? Do you need help down? Travel across? Do you want on my lap? Ooh, claws came out.